maviga munhu mubako handimurobva maisa zidombo munama ndokutarisa iyemi makagara zvamakaita izvi zvikanzi bvisai dombo iro zvikanzi nehanzvadzi zvikanzi ane mazuva mana ari mukati umu atoora kauyo haakutonuhwa maita sei mambo zvikanzi ndati bvisai chii ko iye aitadza kubvisa here nesimba rake ramwari aibvisa but akati aiwa imi itai penyu ndigweta pani vanhu vakazoti allright ndokunokwatanira dombo riya here pakanhuhwa here aiwa paitonhuhwirira zvapo ningi perfume hamene kuti ainge yabva papi dombo razobviswa riya rasaidzirwa raendako unoraya kuti maparticipata imi maparticipata madzimambo handiti iye chake akangodedzera hana kuenda kubako kuya angoti razaro buda razaro ndokubuda akamonerwa handiti kana munhu api anenge akapfeka vavechijuta vanobva vasungirira akade machira handiti ndobva atobuda paya muguva haina kuperera ipapo nyaya yacho zvikanzi mubvisei zvamakamusunga nazvo izvo mbatya idzi dzavakamusunga nadzo ndobva vamuzvikanzi mubvisei kana mamubvisa aende kupi kumba handiti akanzi ngabviswa aende kumba so ndo zvatiri kutaura pano
things are getting out of hand. We cannot ignore the big pain that I think is the last straw on the goose back. The issue of, the cross-border crime, where cars are smuggled out into Mozambique, up the north, the Limpopo River border. And citizens started to find these things because they go to Tracker tells them, the car is that side, we can't do anything about it. Fikilembala even at some point confessed to say, hey, once the car crossed the border, it's difficult to get. So citizens got, the ground was boiling, and the government was ignorant. And the problem with our government in SADC is that if you are a citizen and you speak, they speak from point of privilege. They don't understand the lived experience of people on the ground. I can give examples also ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF officials speaks from the point of privilege because they have money and the citizens of Zimbabwe are suffering. But those that they are paying will say, no, Zimbabwe is doing good, we are selling the good story of Zimbabwe. But whereas the people on the ground will tell you there's no good story to tell because we are walking through the sewer, right? So that's what happened. Actually, to be fair, SADC is facing crisis with that is brewed by the former liberation movements that are too detached from reality and from the citizens of their countries. Because if you listen to South Africans, what they are saying, they are simply asking simple questions. But it's answered in theory and in academics to say, no, we are humans, we are humanitarian, and all those things, which are fine, and people understand. But you cannot tell someone who's hungry, or you can't tell someone whose child died because they bought a snacks that were manufactured at the back door from a Somalian shop to say, let's be humane. No, it doesn't work like that. Our governments fail to listen to people and do as people demand. Because politicians have to take mandates from people. Cap 3. No citizen said we want Cap 3. Politicians decided what they want and they take it down to the people. But there's nothing that people want that they can take up to the government. And that is where the culture of because what's happening in South Africa is years and years of ignorance of South Africans complaining to say, lately when we go to hospital, we don't find medication because we are many. Lately when I'm a South African and I go to clinic, I must find 10 foreigners before me who are going to get the medication that I'm supposed to get. And when it's my turn, the medication is finished. And I have to wake up at 4 to fight for queue with foreigners. And the government say, no, no one's supposed to be denied health care. But the very same government officials, they don't use public facilities. You see, they go to something, they go to medical clinic, they go to net care. Some even get private health care at home. Malawi said to people, gather around the commission, we are going to send buses to come and fetch you. Malawians gathered with children outside. No buses came. But guess what Malawi government did? Malawi government chartered a plane for their president to go to Sante to get medical checkup in the middle of the crisis of their own citizens. And we can't say anything because once we start speaking, it's as if we are xenophobic or we are otherwise. But we are facing the same crisis as SADC. And one government that is still paying, one country that is still paying, holding by the thread, is running the risk of going down the drain, the same path as others. And citizens are saying, no, we can't allow this to happen. Because once you allow this, then we have nowhere to go. If you listen to South Africans, most of them will tell you, we don't have anywhere else to go. We don't have plan B. We are facing the sea. We can't go north. And we can't drown in the sea. Let's make this country work because we don't have alternative. Okay? So, we need to hold this Frelimo here in Mozambique. They lost elections and they killed people because they wanted to maintain power. Nothing was done. The Mozambicans were left wondering. And now the government is imposed on them. So as SADC citizens, sometimes we need to speak beyond politics of nationality and speak about what is happening, whether we experience the same thing or not. Because there's no way we are going to hold the Zimbabwe government accountable if we don't confront and talk about what ZANU-PF is doing. There's no way Malawi can improve if we don't talk about what Malawi government is doing. We need to hold each other accountable for the better of the region. Because it's no longer the issue of South Africa. Because if we are going to make it the issue of South Africa, then we are failing. Because South Africans will be resistant. And surely they have the right to be resistant because they believe this country and they will tell you, we are doing what we are doing in our country. Go do what you have to do in your country. And that argument, it doesn't assist us at all. It absolutely doesn't. If we can still have a truck full of drugs leaving Malawi into South Africa without even paying court in between transit, then we are having a crisis as a region. Because terrorists can just walk in and out of our region. Because we are not working, we are dysfunctional. We don't, as long as the destination is not here where I am, then anything can go. It cannot be. I want us to start talking beyond nationality politics and talk about what our region is doing. Because once the region becomes unstable, then we are as good as dead. And our children will ask us the question, what did we do? Sometimes don't let a good crisis go to waste. This crisis that is happening is a very good opportunity for us to start talking and doing something together in one voice. Tell me, why is it possible now that we're having people stuck in Messina because the governments, where they're supposed to go, their own government says, we want to process you before you come back home. But those people, when they come to South Africa, they don't have to be processed. You see, the double standard. If you can't take your person, you want them to be processed before you take them. But when they go to other countries, no, it's fine. We are fine. What happened to Africa saying what? Why can't they just say, okay, you're African, where are you going? No, I'm from Malawi. Okay. Oh, what? From no one the best to be. That means the documentation thing is working. That means the Africa is one, no foreign Africa is not working. Because what will happen to those that they fail to produce documents? Are they going to be nomads in Africa? Yet we are listening to people saying, no, there's no African who's a foreigner in Africa. But right now people are stuck there in Messina because they want to process them. They want to know who they are before they go home. But when they come to South Africa, no, there is no foreigner in Africa. But why are they now, these people, supposed to be processed before they go? It doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me because the receiving governments don't want to take them without processing them. It's something happened even with the Ghana people. And now they're protesting there in Ghana, they say they want to come back. Because they were just following a cloud of that clown called Ablagwa. And we allow our politicians to mislead us. You know? And they call things xenophobic. Because one thing that we must be aware of, and I noticed this long time ago, ZANU-PF will always sponsor the war against the good cause that South Africans want. Why? Because they know for as long as the focus is not in ZANU government, they can do as they please. Right now, all this, if you look at the countries that are fighting back, it's Nigeria, it's some stooges from ZANU-PF. And why they're doing that? Because they know that they want to protect their governments to continue looting. I mean, if you look at what's happening in Nigeria, it's absolutely nonsense. How do you have school children abducted in the bush, not even in a house somewhere, in a bush for more than a month, and the government is quiet? But those parliamentarians can stand up and say, we will protect our citizens in South Africa. Yet they are failing to protect learners, a young 12-year-old girl in the bush in Nigeria. And you tell me that there's Pan-Africanism. And you tell me that we're Africans, we love each other. How do we love each other when we go to bed in our comfortable beds, where we know Nigerian children are in the bush there? A teacher was slaughtered in Nigeria. His throat cut live in front of his learners. Nothing happened. But we talk of Africa as if Africa is this glorified, is this good thing that we want to protect. No, we are lying to ourselves, and we must start talking the truth. Let me get my mic between the words of Mr. Senor. I can speak the whole night.
I've got 3 questions for you, if you allow me, host, if I can ask the gentleman.
I think
you can go ahead.
it was
The first one being
we're going to speak.
a matric child, teenager, whose father and mother died, and they do not have ID. You know the cases that are trending. What is going to happen to that child? Number 2, by the way, point of correction, there's only one production center, the processing that you talked about. It is on the South African side. It's a repatriation center where it is the South African side clearing people. I don't know whether they're doing it jointly with the Zimbabwean side. The third one, I've not seen, correct me, maybe I'm looking at the wrong pictures and videos. When South Africans and it's their right, by the way, I'm not challenging. When they visit a workplace, I've never seen where they are screening to say, it's okay, sharp, go back to the machine because you've got papers, particularly ZEPs. There's a reason why I'm saying that. I've never seen. Is it because maybe they are only showing the bad side of things, illegal, those who don't have papers? I'm thinking aloud. I have tons of questions, but I'm limiting to 3. But if you are not qualified or free to respond, I understand, my brother. I want you to this lobby group. I want to lobby together with South Africans and Zimbabweans. We'll talk behind the scenes. Thank you, my brother. I'm asking you, Cruz.
You asking me?
Yes, Cruz.
No, he has dropped. He's disconnecting. He's trying to pick him up.
Well, Kurushi. Oh, Kurushi, do you want to come back up?
Okay, through you, host, maybe anyone can answer. Through you, host, I'm just throwing this. Those 3 critical questions, especially the first one. A vulnerable teenager, they don't have an ID, they are undocumented, they are born here, there's no trace the father died, or maybe they are still alive because they did not regularize their status. What will happen to that child?
Yeah, so you know what? You brought up a very important point, Signoro. I actually know someone who has 2 kids, and because they went there at a very young age to South Africa. You know, they were a young girl at I think at 14 years old. They went to South Africa, and then they ended up. She ended up getting pregnant over there. And then, because also she was forced into I would say forced into a marriage or a living situation with someone. because she was young, she had no parents, or her parents had passed away in Zim, and she was forced to move to South Africa because of the economic conditions in Zimbabwe. Now she has a kid from this guy in South Africa, and then she has another kid, actually, so they have 2 children, but then the guy ends up dying. He passes away after a few years. That guy was married to someone else, too. That's where the issue was. So the girl tried to go and talk to the wife of that guy, but hey, he also left these kids here. Can we get them documented? Can we get them, because that is their legal father. But yeah, so that case until today hasn't been resolved. And then with the whole situation, I don't know where it's at now with everything that's happening with this, but I know from like the beginning of this year, that case was not resolved. So I'm pretty sure it's still not yet resolved. So what happens, right? Like I don't know if like the South African brothers and sisters, do they understand this? Like there are some Zimbabweans that have moved to South Africa, and they in these situations where they do have children with South Africans, but then now those children don't have paperwork because the government was not working fast enough. So that's a really big situation right there. Owen, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I want to make my contribution like this. When we are on space here, we are speaking to South Africans who are not of authority. They are just people like us who are on the space, but they cannot really decide on matters that are official like that. They are powerful people of various opinion who come here. They cannot decide how can a South African system work or give people papers. But however, because they want to seem as if they have authority, they will talk like this. So I believe South Africa has got its immigration policies and immigration laws. What does it say when a child is born from a South African father? Because in Zimbabwe, if a child is born from a South African, a Zimbabwean father and the mother is foreign, that child automatically is a Zimbabwean. I don't know what South African law says about it, but in Zimbabwe it's different. So we might waste time here asking people like Wanakurish, are they officials? He can tell you something here, but and then you are happy or you are angry. But when you go on the ground or when you go to offices, it will be a position that is so different. So let's keep those kind of questions. Maybe we could engage lawyers or engage people of authority.